Hello, and welcome to Fusion Writing, where building character meets creating structure. And welcome to the month of March and a whole new topic. Victoria, what do you have for us this month?
As I mentioned in the compass, we're talking about timeline tools. And what you're getting is you're getting a sneak peek into issue number 2 of my monthly newsletter if you are a subscriber. So hopefully you're receiving issue 1, which is out into the post and on its way to you. But issue 2 is going to focus on a deeper look at the narrative theory of the chronotope using time and space alongside your notebox. So I thought this would be a good time to dig a little deeper here in Fusion Writing into those ideas and how they get implemented as part of your writing process. So in chapter 2 of my book, Zettelkasten for fiction writers, I talk to you about lining out your plot structure, just sketching out where does this character start, what major things do I want them to experience, and where do they end up. So that's a very simplistic view of how to line out a timeline. But let's go a little deeper. What if, for example, you know that your story begins on April Fool's Day in the year 2025? Well, once you nail that down, you have a firm heading for how to make the choices and the decisions that drive your story. Let me tell you what I mean. If you, for example, decide that on April 1st, your main character storms out of their office building and they immediately bump into a coworker and have a fight with them. That's your hook or your inciting incident, depending on what kind of plot lingo you're using. But that's the thing that kicks off your story. Now you have to make a decision. What happens next during that time in that space? The thing that happens next is going to determine the course of the story. What I mean is, you've got to make some choices. Let's say in option A, those characters bump into each other, they have an explosive argument, and one character turns on their heel and storms off down the block, thereby leaving the character standing there, stunned, can't even believe that this person just stormed off. Well, that gives you two choices. Either you're going to be in the point of view of the person who's left standing there stunned, or maybe you're going to follow the person who has stormed off. You've got two different story options there, and it's your time and your place that are driving making those choices. Now let's go to another scenario. Let's say your character storms out of the building. She's absolutely furious because she's just had a confrontation in the building. She storms out, she bumps into character B, and rather than them having a confrontation and character B storming off, she confides in this character. And the two of them have a shared moment of, I can't even believe that happened to you. Let's just go get a coffee and process this and work it out. Very different feeling, very different scene. And that's going to drive the fact that now they're going off somewhere together. So you're keeping that point of view cohesive, and they're going off to process what's happened in the prior scene. Well, what if there's a third option? Maybe in your third timeline, as you're sketching this out, thinking about what could happen, they have the fight inside the building, they storm out into the street, they bump into this other person, they attack the other person, and the two of them start a little bit of a confrontation. But what if the outcome of the confrontation is they suddenly burst into laughter? They can't even believe that they're fighting about this ridiculous thing. Totally different feeling, totally different scene. That's what I mean when I talk about harnessing your timeline tools in order to drive the story. By simply plotting out carefully, she leaves the building at 9 a.m. on April 1st. At 4 minutes past 9, she bumps into character B. And then you've got 3 possible scenarios that I've just lined out for you for what can happen in the following minutes and hours. That's how you timeline out your story. That's how you harness the tools of looking at the causes and effects on a timeline to determine which one of those scenarios best serves your story, drives it forward, and reveals something about your characters that you then carry through as a thread. So that's all I'm going to give you today, because we have a whole lot more to discover and cover. But timeline tools, my friends, that is what we're looking at this time. Now, I will close with, back in November, we had some super fun over in the LiLLiPub community with the Experience Collection Challenge. That's simply creating one note card a day that documents something that you've experienced, you've observed, or maybe just a thought that you've had. Your experience can certainly be internally in that it's just something that you're thinking about. Just capturing one card a day. So by the time you see these videos, we will already be into the Experience Challenge, which is launching March 1st, which is on Sunday. So this time we're issuing the challenge with a twist, because you may recall that Kathleen also ran an Experience Collection Challenge, but she applied it to the character traits. So this time the twist is Experience Collection Challenge. Observe something throughout your day that strikes you, an observation, an experience, what have you. Record that on your card, and then I want you to make a note on that card of how could that apply to character, and does it apply to a particular trait? So we're pulling in both challenges and double challenging you to collect that experience, and then make yourself a note about how that might apply to a character or a specific character trait. Because then in the next challenge, we're going to bring it all together and we're going to start doing some writing. So there you have it. Dive into your timeline tools and get ready for the Experience Collection Challenge featuring the character traits, because it's going to be fun. Kathleen?
Oh boy. Oh, Victoria, I can't wait to participate. I had a whole lot of fun with the challenge in November. I still have my binder where I collected all of my experience cards during that month and just loved keeping them. Oh, you have yours too. Oh, marvelous. And I have my character trait experience cards as well. So it's going to be fun adding to this. Let's see, these rings might need to get a little fatter. I wonder if I have anything bigger in my drawer. Oh, what fun. And we are having so much fun over in LiLLiPub. I know I always talk about LiLLiPub at the end of our call, but today, with Victoria's book being out, I bet you can just imagine we are just talking about this book day and night. People are sending pictures of what they're doing. We're all just so into doing the exercises in this book. This is a book that you read and you do, and you read and you do, and you read and you do. It's a step by step, and she's Victoria, you've knocked it out of the park with this one, let me say. Well, we're on a whole new character trait, and if you have your newsletter, number 22, then you know we're on the character trait of trustworthiness. So what we always talk about in our first of our 2 weeks on trustworthiness is we try to get a handle of what do we mean when we say that somebody's trustworthy. And in particular, we're going to have to say, responsibility versus trustworthiness, because they're a little bit alike, and we've covered responsibility already. What do we mean by trustworthiness? Well, trustworthiness has this added component of what does your character do when no one's looking? If they walk into a cafe and someone has left their purse sitting on the table and has gone off to do something, pick up their food or go to the ladies' room or something, that purse is just sitting there on a cafe and nobody seems to be noticing, does he just say, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to make sure nobody touches that purse. I'll sit down and I'll keep an eye on it for that lady? Or does he say, I wonder what I could slip out of that purse with nobody noticing? That's what you get into with trustworthiness. Well, villain. Have you heard the word villain before? Trustworthiness is something that you can almost always count on your villain to not come through on that one. In fact, he almost prides himself on tricking people into trusting him. So this is just a classic character trait for writing your hero villain stories. Your villain is going to fall right in. Then we're going to have to take a look at what about trustworthiness for your normal characters? Well, hopefully, the vast majority of the characters that you will ever write are just going to be perfectly trustworthy, because that's what they are. They're trustworthy people. But trustworthiness can still come up as a challenge. How could this be? What if somebody is trusting your character to do something that they aren't sure they're capable of delivering? They've been entrusted with something that's hard for them to do, and they're worried if they can come through or not. Now, that's an issue of trustworthiness as well. So you realize now you've got the intent to be trustworthy, the desire to be trustworthy, and the and the question is for some of your characters, instead of saying, I don't know if I can do it, but by golly, I'm going to put one foot after the other, after the other, after the other, and I'm going to do the very, very best I can, and I sure hope I get there. But there's going to be a cast of characters in your story who will say, oh no, I'm not sure if I can do that. I better get out of this. Maybe I better sabotage myself early so that everybody knows that I can't do it. So you see, people react in different ways to this kind of a question. So the trustworthiness issue is a little bit more complex than you might think. So start thinking about a little bit about trustworthiness. But of course, the central theme that you're always going to find in the story is who should be trusted and who shouldn't. Now you've got the makings of a mystery story. Suppose you have two characters. They both kind of look like they ought to be trusted, but they're kind of at cross purposes with one another. Who does your reader trust? Who's the good guy? Who's the villain? You're going to set up clues. Is your reader going to know more than your hero or your heroine who has to trust one or the other of these? Maybe your reader knows which one is, no, not that guy, no. And your heroine is starting to trust that one. Oh, so you've built up a tension in your reader that your heroine doesn't realize is an issue. So there's just lots and lots and lots of story power with the character trait of trustworthiness. We'll have a lot of fun with this month and also with the challenge that we've got coming up. Victoria, anything to add?
Oh, as always, I don't know how we do this so perfectly, but everything just fits right together. What if in our scenarios of trying to decide how our character coming out of the building is met up with character B, what if character B sees character A and makes the decision, knowing that character A has not seen them, to turn around and go the other way? Says something entirely different about character B. So this is what we're talking about, guys. When you start playing around with these concepts and use them as Legos and see how they fit together and then how things line out, that's building story. That's why we're here. So, hey, Kathleen, if people wanted to join us, where would they find us?
They would find us at LiLLiPub.org. And boy, oh boy, I bet if you just listen quietly in a quiet room, listen closely, you'll hear all the ruckus that's going on in LiLLiPub. We're that loud. So come on over. It's a whole lot of fun. And at the moment, anyway, it's still only $8 a month. It's a fantastic deal. And if you buy Victoria's book, you get a coupon for a 1 month free trial of LiLLiPub. So almost half the price of the book right there in value. So get your book, come on over, join the fun. We're having a great time and we're learning to write and we're getting our stories moving. We're getting our stories moving. Last time I showed you my plot box. Well, I got a file box going to match the folders in my plot box so I can put my drafts. And I'm not the only one. There's a really spectacular one that I think Victoria is going to share with you, one of our LiLLiPub members. So it's just so much fun over there. Be sure you come on over to lillipub.org. See you there. Bye-bye.